Do we have any attendees?
Great.
There you go.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Tatiana.
Thank you. Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is the meeting of the Needham Personnel Board. The open meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the outbreak of COVID-19. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and that you want to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order, confirming our membership here. As I mentioned, I'm Vivian Shu, Chair of the Personnel Board. As a preliminary matter, permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Richard Lanetta.
Present.
Joseph Herlihy.
Present.
And we also have with us our staff, Chuck Murphy-Romboletti,
Present.
Tatiana Swanson,
Present.
and Kate Fitzpatrick.
Present.
And I do not think there are any other anticipated speakers on the agenda in regular session. Thank you. Call the meeting to order, and Chuck, I'll let you kick off our agenda.
Sure. Thanks, Vivian. So the first item in your packet is the elected official salaries for fiscal year 2023. So as we do each year, on this year's annual town meeting warrant, there's an article, human resources article establishing the elected official salaries. In that file in your packets, you'll see that the only thing that changes this year is for the town clerk salary, as is usual prior years. The proposed increase for the town clerk salary is 3% on July 1st. This increase is in line with the proposed increases for management staff that will be eligible for increases. And then you'll see there's also a footnote on the calculations for benefits as well, based on the incumbent longevity, sick and vacation leave buyback, and other things. So this has been placed on the, I've mentioned, it's been placed on the town meeting warrant, and it is here for your review.
Do you need our approval as a board, or? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So I'll entertain a motion, or do we have any discussion?
Madam Chair, I'll move.
Thank you.
I'll move that the Personnel Board recommend adoption of Article 3, establish election official salaries with the numbers that is printed here on the sheet.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. It's unanimous, Chuck. Thank you.
Thank you. So on the agenda is the position on the fire union agreement warrant articles. So on the special town meeting warrant, there are several human resource articles, which include funding the collective bargaining agreements for several unions. Included in your packets are the warrant and those articles to go along with that warrant. To discuss first is the MOA for the fire union. And that's included in your packets as well. So this brings the contract through 7/1/22, which is a 2-year agreement, brings it up to current. Then after that, in your packets as well as the MOA for the police union as well, which is an agreement through fiscal year 23. And Kate is here to discuss. Did you want to talk about high-level bullets, Kate?
Sure, I would just say the police is through 25.
I'm sorry, 25.
just to be clear. I would just hit, I know you've seen them, and just to give the highlights, the select board approved the fire MOA, which, as Chuck noted, was a 2-year to bring us current, and included an increase of 3% for FY21 and 2% for 22. The 3% in 21 is similar to the other unions that settled, or everybody else had settled already for FY21, and this brings us current. We continue to have, there's a number of language items that are included in this fire union contract, most notably due to the fact that the typical fire union schedule is essentially an average of 42 hours a week. And we have several positions that are now working a 40-hour week, either Monday through Friday or 4/10s. And so we've had to go through all of the different types of leaves that calculated benefits based on hours, based on a 42-hour week, and recalibrate them to a 40-hour week. It looks like a lot of documentation, but that's really what it's for. So that was a high priority of ours. And we'll be resuming discussions with the fire union in the next couple months on some of our other high priorities, and hope to get a longer agreement with them settled in the next for the next town meeting. I jump over to police, if that makes sense.
Hey, one question, if I may.
Of course.
The 3% in real dollars is how much money?
Approximately 198,000.
And the 2%?
The 2% is 140,000. Rick, I will get you a cheat sheet for that.
Great.
I assume those are your articles.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
So naive question, does approval of this contract result in like retroactive pay?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And Kate, when do you hope to reopen conversations for the next contract?
I would say realistically in the early fall.
Okay, thank you.
So the other contract that we're actually bringing to the select board Wednesday night. So we would ask the personnel board, if you're so inclined, to take a vote on it, but just knowing that it would be subject to, although I'm not expecting any problems with this contract with the board. Excuse me. So the cost items are just general wage increases, as you've seen there. We've done 2 other things. We've added certification pay, which is in recognition of the new requirements that are placed on police officers under the police reform law. And we've upgraded the education pay, which we sometimes call Quinn pay. And this is reflective of the fact that about half of the department was making a different rate of pay than the other half, based on having the same degree and the same years of service. And so it was something that we had been working to find a way to rectify. And what we've done in this contract, in recognition of the cooperation of the police union on the select board's high priorities, was to bring everybody up to the same level on that education pay. There are a couple of other items on wages, including an increase to the detail rate and an inclusion of the Juneteenth holiday. And then there's a number of language items that are beneficial to us, including, for instance, calculating holiday pay. The current system is that police officers get paid a dollar amount in a week that a holiday occurs, and it's an administrative difficulty for us to do that. And now it's just spread out and paid weekly, because police officers don't get to take the actual holiday. They just get paid an additional amount for it. That's just an example of some of the things that we're trying to make easier for accounting and less susceptible to human error. But the big issue here is that the police union is supportive of our an effort to remove the department from the civil service system. So we've negotiated with them, a recruitment process, a promotion process that's included in the contract. And that basically mirrors the civil service system with a few changes on our part. The real change to our ability to recruit and then promote a diverse workforce will be in the policy that we want to talk to you about in the draft, which is the recruitment policy. So we'll be talking about that after. The select boards and our long-term goal is to widen the pool of applicants for people wanting to be police officers. And then once that happens, by its very nature, the pool of applicants for promotion to sergeant, lieutenant, and then ultimately, which is in his contract, then ultimately a deputy chief in chief will be wider and presumably more diverse than it is now. I think those are the high level. I'd be happy to talk about any of those.
Kate, can I ask you to convert the same to FY22 at 2% and 23 at 2.5 and in the
Yeah,
same?
I'm going to send you that.
Great.
Just bearing in mind that whenever we lay out for town meeting the cost items, we always include cost items that are already our obligation, so they see the whole picture. But
Thank
you understand that, you know, the cost of steps and longevity changes for FY23, we're already there, but we
Yeah.
like to show the whole thing. So yes, I will send you those.
Thank
this
you.
week.
Also include the cost for the increase parity on the Quinn stuff too.
Yeah, everything is on that sheet.
Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions about either of these contracts or the three contracts?
Was it difficult getting them to move away from civil service? And I guess difficult is a strange word, but did you have to really jump over hoops?
I guess I would say in open session that we have a very cooperative relationship with the police union, and we understood their issues and they understood our issues. And yet collective bargaining gives both sides the right
Yeah.
to ask for what they're looking for, right? So
Yeah.
the clear and best path to removing the department from civil service is for the police union to be supportive of it, and they are. So yes,
Perfect.
we're very, very satisfied with the outcome.
Thank you.
It's a process.
Yes, it didn't just start. It's been a long time. We probably talked about it 10 years ago or whenever.
Yeah.
I recall talking about it a little bit when we were dealing with the Quinn bill.
Yep.
Too.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, any further questions or comments about these agreements? Joe,
Madam
did you
Chair,
have
the Personnel Board's recommendation could end up in this warrant because the special town meeting warrant hasn't been finalized yet. So if you were to take a position on those two warrant articles, I could get it in the warrant.
Okay. Would you like them voted upon separately? You could do
I don't
that
think
if
that's
you-
necessary.
I'll entertain a motion.
Joe, you want to go or you want me to make it?
Why don't you make it?
Okay. Madam Chair, I move that the Personnel Board recommend adoption to, and I'm not sure what article number it is because my version is off here, to fund the collective bargaining agreement for the Needham Fire Union with the numbers that we have just heard from Kate.
So we're looking at Article 3, 4, and 5, correct?
In the current special, I think
Yeah.
they're 1 and 2, actually, we haven't settled with the police superiors yet, but I think if
Okay.
you just say fire union, it's fine.
Okay,
Okay,
Fire Union.
all right.
Okay, I'll second Rick's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You really should poll the board, Vivian.
I know, the collective bargaining. Richard Lanetta,
Yes.
Joseph Hurley,
Yes.
And I am Vivian Shu, and I vote yes.
It is required for all votes that are virtual.
Madam Chair, I move that the Personnel Board recommend adoption of the Needham Police Union, which is Article 4, to the numbers that Kate has just explained to us.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Call us by name.
Rick Manetta,
Aye, yes.
Joe Hurley,
Yes.
and Vivian Shu votes yes. Okay, I need more coffee. It's
Yeah, the
4
list,
o'clock.
the list is just so long, right?
Oh, all right. So we have voted to recommend Kate articles. Sorry, I'm looking at
Three.
3.
4.
It was 3 and 4. I think they're 1 and 2 now, but that's okay.
Okay, all right. Those articles which are associated with those agreements. All right.
Kate, any chance for the superior officers?
Superior
Yes, yeah.
officers.
Yep, I hope so. We're meeting with them Wednesday.
Yay.
Okay,
Hope to wrap that up. But we did not, we just didn't have time to finish the BCTIA or NIPIA, so we're hoping those will be in the fall.
Yay.
excellent.
So the next item on the agenda is the draft policy, which is the police recruitment and hiring policy Kate spoke about. And so this is just for discussion, because, correct me if I'm wrong, Kate, but these will need eventual approval by the personnel board, pending, once the town is officially withdrawn the police from civil service at that point, right?
So we, if I may, Chuck, we actually, the select board has had some comments on these as well, and we wanted a little bit more time to refine it. But what we thought we would do is stamp draft on it and put it out so town meeting members have a sense of what we're thinking about, but it would ultimately come to you. The big change for recruitment is, well, obviously that HR is going to have to, get a vendor and run these exams, and, even the physical exams and the written exams and what have you. But the big change is that the way civil service works now is that in order to take, we have a resident preference. And in order to take the exam, you have to have proof that you lived in Needham the year before the test is taken. And, the number of 18 to 30-year-olds who live in Needham, during those years of their life for the 1 year, it's been problematic. It's old fashioned. So not having that requirement will allow us to do a deep recruitment in all over the place. I mean, we can go to surrounding communities, we can go to Boston, we can go to Waltham, we can go to Dedham, and do our best to recruit a more diverse applicant pool, and then be able to hire from that. So that's really the critical piece that unlocks a long-term strategy. It's also, we're finding on the police side, actually on police and fire, that younger people are not interested in civil service. They're not interested in taking the test. People aren't taking the test. And so the candidate pool is not just restricted by the fact that you have had to live in Needham, but that people aren't taking it at all. So, used to be hundreds and hundreds would take that exam. It's not the case right now. It's difficult time to want to be a police officer, but we're also finding it with fire. I think people don't think of civil service as something they might want to think it's like a long-term commitment or something. So we welcome any feedback that you have, but we just wanted you to know that we're putting it out there. So when people say, well, what are you going to do once you don't have civil service? You can say, well, we're working with stakeholders, and one of them is the board on what that would look like.
Okay.
Always good to have a plan.
Yeah. Kate, when I read it, using a third party to do tests and all, can you just walk me through what your thinking is there as opposed to we not doing it ourselves?
Running the test ourselves? Well, we don't have a test, like we don't have the bandwidth to create an exam, especially one that sort of held the test of non-discrimination and, you know, all these things. So there are vendors, like the town of Wellesley's been out for 10 years or so. We were even talking about partnering with Wellesley, or Westwood that just got out. And I mean, the exam is an exam, right? So we can all run them together for economies of scale. But having a vendor who specializes in writing the exams, usually national, you know, or New England vendor, and running them, and then we take over from there in terms of creating the list. It's just getting people. We'll recruit them through our system. They'll take an exam provided by a vendor, and then anybody who passes gets back in our pool, and then can be moved up.
Thank you. Okay.
I don't know about you, Chuck. I don't feel qualified to run an exam.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
there are several vendors out there that are qualified to do that. We would still manage the process. It would be a vendor to create, score, run that piece.
okay. So we'll perhaps at our next meeting, we can provide some feedback, collective feedback
Yeah,
on the policy.
we can talk about it over the summer. Because in order to get out of civil service, we're also, we have a home rule petition. It has to go to the legislature and signed by the governor. And so it won't be next week, it'll be next year. You know.
Are you expecting more scrutiny over this proposed policy at town meeting?
I would expect we might hear suggestions from people, which we would absolutely welcome. They can send them to us and we can consider them in the next draft we get you.
Okay.
So just for my information, when a new recruit is hired, it looks to me, I just want to make sure I understand the process. So they're given a conditional offer of employment, and it's conditioned on the psychological screening. Is that what I understand? Is that how it's done?
Can you explain this? There's only certain things we can do, and we have to wait till after we've given an offer, right, Chuck? Can you
Yeah.
explain?
Yeah, exactly. That's how it works now. It's with the civil service process. We have to have a conditional offer made to be able to do the background check, the psych screening, the PAT.
Is it a drug test after a conditional offer too, or is that?
Usually.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
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 And then we send them to the police academy if they haven't had, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's something called recruits. What are they called, Chuck, when they're in the academy? Recruits? Cadet officers, something like that.
Yeah, recruits. They refer to them as recruits. Yep.
Okay.
And then after they come back in the civil,
They have
their
probation.
probationary period
Yeah.
for 1 year after they come back. Yep.
Okay. All right, well, that's helpful. Thank you.
You.
Any other questions about the policy? All right, we'll give it a little more review. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the next item is potential reclassifications of positions. So just wanted to bring this to the board's attention. We do have, we've been approached by the Public Works Management staff on several of the positions that were included in the previous classification and compensation study. And discussing with them some of the issues that those are presenting organizationally. So just want to give the board a heads up that those are being looked at and could be before the board in the future. And I think that's all. So just really just a heads up. There's 5 there. There's some of the issues included the the organizational structure there and some of the employees, I guess, did not or were not willing to submit JAQs at the time or did not know about it. So just trying to make sure they have a fair shot to explain what it is exactly that they do and that we've captured accurately what it is they do. So that was really it for that item.
Chuck, are those positions going first to the supervisors and managers for review to see whether they are in agreement over the questions that have been raised?
Yes, they'll be heavily involved. It'll follow the same process essentially as the class and comp study. We'll have them fill out JAQs. We'll have the supervisors look and comment. So it'll be the same thorough process just to make sure we have captured everything at the time and something wasn't overlooked.
Thank you.
Chuck, how many positions are there?
So it's 5 positions in total. One of them, for instance, one of them wasn't looked at as a supervisory position, but there actually is supervisory duties, direct supervisory duties, and that wasn't captured in the scoring. That's an example of one thing, but it's 5 in total. And any other questions on that item?
None from me. Thank you.
No.
Okay, so the next item was the fiscal year 23 and 24 compensation schedules for non-represented employees. So this is included in your packets on page 45 of the PDF.
Yeah.
And it's a proposed vote for your consideration. And it's an increase for 2 years. So this is slightly different from what we've done in past years where we've approved only 1 year of increases at the time for non-represented and management pay scales. This year, we're proposing 2 years, fiscal 23 and 24, to keep in line with ITWA schedules and their agreements for those years. So one reason being, as you know, the class and comp study graded all the positions on one scale, and we would really like to maintain the one scale as long as possible. And also to give non-represented staff some expectations for a couple of years at a time. So for your consideration is this year, we're proposing increases, and those increases match what the ITWA union is getting for those years as well.
Well, we always strive for parity. So.
Yeah.
Anything we can do with the market too.
I'm sorry, Kate?
Anything we can do, like Chuck said, about predictability in this recruitment market is to be able to show people like, here's next year's too, right? So that you're sort of,
Yeah.
you know.
Helps you in your retention.
Makes sense.
Any questions or comments about this proposal?
No.
All right. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to recommend the pay increases outlined in the proposed vote of April 11, 22.
I'll second.
Joe, your vote?
Oh, yes, I vote yes. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just me today. Rick
Yes.
and Vivian Shu votes yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So next item is actually something we've long wanted to talk about. We have tried to talk about, the board has tried to talk about and adopt, but that's it's my fault. It hasn't been actually on the meeting agendas, so we haven't had the chance to take a formal adoption, but adoption of the Nuwari vision statement. We're lucky enough to have Vivian, who is a part of Nuwari, And I know like I mentioned, the board has talked about their intent to adopt the vision statement, but now it is formally on the agenda. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add, Vivian.
I guess I would say that, one of the things about the New RA working group is that we started at the beginning of the pandemic, and we came together as a group and did what I considered to be an excellent job at collaborating and having thorough discussion about what we needed. We had some help, not only from Kate and Katie, but also from Lisa and others, to think about what was important for the town, and to think about not only what the vision statement might be, but also how we would approach some guiding principles to create a framework, and also some intentional practices to assist town departments, boards and committees, as well as community organizations, to think about the issue regarding racial equity in our town. And I use those terms in very broad strokes because, it's not just about race. I think, there are a lot of components of ethnicity and identity associated with it. And the representation on the New RA working group included individuals from all sectors of our community, citizens, business, NDI, Human Rights Commission, clergy group, and it was hard discussion. It was very hard discussion that yielded this document that has been put out to, as I mentioned, town departments, boards and committees, as well as community organizations, in the hope that we can speak with one voice and use common language. And the New RA work is not done. We anticipated it would be a one-year project, Kate, I think, when we first talked about it, but we are well into are we in our second or third year now? Second year. And the hope is that at some point New RA can go away and everybody else can carry on the work that was envisioned. So any questions, I'm happy to answer, and Kate's here as well.
Lots of work put together by very committed people. Be commended, really. Good job.
Thanks, Rick. Thank you.
Janina,
Joe, did you have any questions?
Vivian, do you need a motion?
I do. I was so much chagrined that I forgot to remind Chuck to put this in on the personnel board agenda for our adoption. So it is here.
Okay.
So yes.
Madam Chair, I'll move that the Personnel Board recommend adoption of the New RA Vision Statement that it's been written and published.
So is it, what we've been doing is asking each board and committee to actually adopt, because it was adopted already by the select board.
Okay. Madam Chair, I move that the Personnel Board adopt the New RA Vision Statement as written and published.
I'll second Rick's motion.
Thank you, Joe. Rick, your vote.
Yes.
Joe?
Joe votes yes.
And Vivian votes yes. So adopted.
Excellent. Thank you all.
Do we have any new business or any unanticipated business we should discuss?
And if I could, I just wanted to note that we've been working on updating the management compensation policy and the management evaluation policy, maybe trying to combine them. I think they're, my younger daughter turned 27 2 months ago, and I think they're her age. So we're just looking to update them, and Chuck and Tatiana have been working away at updating some of the other policies. It's hard to fit it all in. So, But it is something that we will be presenting to you, I would say fairly in the near future, right, Chuck? Chuck, were there any other ones on the policy front that we were updating?
The hiring police chief and deputy,
Oh, right.
did we mention that?
We didn't. So we have the promotion to sergeant and lieutenant in the police union contract. We have recruitment and selection as a policy. So now we'll need something for the deputy chief and the chief, just to set forth what the town's intent is, and we'll be bringing you those too. Yeah, thank you, Chuck.
With respect to the management performance, are you intending to redesign the system of review or only the policy? I'm not clear.
We've been, so in terms of management compensation, we're not really looking to do all that much, but I'll have something to share.
Okay,
You know, we've been working our way through some forms, getting closer and closer to minimalism. Just trying to ensure these two-way conversations don't get bogged down by huge reams of paper. And so we have been, you know, during the pandemic, we tweaked it, and then we're looking at some pilots, but the general system is not all that changed.
okay. We've had many discussions about management comp and classification over my
Yes.
however many years on the board. And, you know, same thing with the employees. I mean, as I recall, that was Chuck's big project that, you know,
Yeah, we've
was broadly accepted.
had many iterations. We've been able to work through it year after year, kind of collect feedback from each year, see what worked, what didn't, tweak the form, try that version of it. But as Kate mentioned, we're going more towards the minimalist form itself. But at the end of the day, it's trying to encourage good conversation, good back and forth conversation, give people a guide to have those tough conversations, be effective. So,
Okay.
getting there.
Thank you. Is there anything else anybody wanted to raise for conversation, discussion? Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Get out and vote on Tuesday.
Yes.
Thank you all. Appreciate
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Welcome.
Thanks so much. Boy, this Zoom makes this meeting convenient.
I know.
Or
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Joe moves that we adjourn.
And Rick seconds Joe's motion.
And how does Joe vote?
I vote yes.
Rick?
Rick votes yes too.
The chair votes yes too. Thank you all for your work.
Thank you.
everyone.
It's good to see everyone.
Hope to see you in person.
Town meeting.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.